um, aligned with one of them, and that
Which
is
is
the Community Care Health Center, the
what?
Ultimate
What are the other
facility.
two? Just so I can have it.
There is a group that works El Viento. It's a group that works to provide scholarships for students in the Oakview area. What they do, and it's a wonderful program, they take a group of students in elementary school, and then the parents make a commitment that the children will stay in the program. If they stay in the program, keep their grades up all through elementary school and high school, El Viento then provides a scholarship, a 2-year scholarship, and then tries to assist them if they go on to 4-year colleges. So we have El Viento that is very, very much a part of that community now. We have a group of departments from the city that meet once a month with the residents. So to make sure that there are opportunities for people who live there, both educationally, and one of our elementary schools is located there. And so there are the coalitions of people who want to make sure that that is a vital community and provided with the resources so their children can progress to college, and that health care needs are met by our Community Care Health Center. The Boys
What
and
do you do for the healthcare center?
I'm on the board of directors of Ultimed, which is the parent organization that runs this and 7 other clinics here in Orange County. I was a part of the local community clinic during the time when we decided that for the benefit of our patients and to expand our program, it would benefit all of us to merge with a group called Ultimate that comes out of Los Angeles and mostly had programs in the Los Angeles area. But since our merger, they have acquired several clinics here in Orange County. So
So it's a for-profit entity or not for profit?
nonprofit entity, and we offer services, complete services for any of the health needs, including dental. We have a dental clinic here in Huntington Beach, and just recently, because of my involvement with the Boys and Girls Club and a program called the Twilight Program, where the Boys and Girls Club buses pick up people from all over the community, take them to Golden West College, where the children go into the Boys and Girls Club facility and do either have tutoring or games or whatever program fits the age of the child. The parents go to ESL classes to improve their English language skills and also to learn more about how you can get through the system.
Is that also through the clinic?
The clinic is now doing a program with the Boys and Girls Club,
Okay.
and we are in the process right now. We have a health committee in the Boys and Girls Club. We provide health programs within our clubs, but we have taken on the Twilight program, and what we will be doing is we've started interviewing all of the parents, and now we will do our dentist, who is chair of our committee, will be reviewing all of the children and making determinations of what their dental needs are, and then those children will go over to the Ultimate Dental Clinic for treatment. So we've got that liaison going, and that's the strength of most groups.
Who is that dentist?
The dentist is Dr. Manriquez, and Dr. Sal Manriquez, and he is also does some teaching at USC.
My understanding is that the League of Women Voters was started a couple of years before women were first allowed to vote in this country. Is that correct?
They were started because of that movement.
Right. It was
To
a
get
part
the-
of that
to
movement.
get the women's vote.
So the question is, can you foresee a day in which women have complete equity with men in America? And why is this important?
Well, it's important because of what women have to offer. I think we've seen this in the leadership that women have provided, both in Congress and at a local level. I think it's always wonderful that you have a mix of women and you have a mix of men, because each bring a different perspective. And yes, I do see women are making advances faster than I think anyone ever thought that they would. First of all, they're at all levels of higher education. as professors and teachers. You see them in every arena. And so I see no reason why. It's up to women. It's up to us to make sure that we have the advances. And you see them everywhere. You see them as attorneys. And what I most...
So you think the glass ceiling is broken?
I think we've cracked it. And I think each year that progress is being made. One of the things I've always respected the League of Women Voters. That was my beginnings. That's my foundation. But what I've seen recently is how governmental bodies take them so seriously. If the League of Women Voters has a position, and that position is put forward, most decision makers respect that decision and act accordingly.
Even in this county?
Even in this county. The League
Because
has always
Mayor
had...
Bauer was saying that a lot of times their opinions are dismissed by conservatives because they're seen as a liberal organization.
And what he's saying is probably true, but I think the majority of people respect that voice, and it's respected on a national level. Of course there's going to be very maybe ultra-conservatives, and certainly this is a county that would have
Its fair share of those.
Fair share of people who hold those views. We see it over and over again in our elections. But then we have people like Loretta Sanchez, Congresswoman Sanchez. She was up against a very conservative opponent in Santa Ana, and she's consistently won her seat.
Was her opponent also Hispanic?
No, her opponent was not Hispanic.
Maybe that's part of why she won, because she's representing a largely Hispanic area.
Well, she also was representing a very wealthy area.
Okay.
There's a very wealthy area in Santa Ana, which most people kind of neglect. And the fact is, there are a lot of wealthy people who have lived in and continue to live in. Floral Park is the area I'm referring to. Right outside of Floral Park, we have an Ultimate Community Clinic, and it's practically in that neighborhood. But no, she, I think, won, and when she's just consistently held that office when they could have put up a lot of money and defeated her. But I think people appreciate the principles and the background she brings to her office. But yes, we have a lot of work to do, but that's always been the way. I don't care what. Everyone said the Amigos would fail in saving Bolsa Chica, but we didn't, because for almost 40 years, we were persistent. We never lost track of what the goal was.
You kept your eye on the prize.
We kept our eye on the prize, and that's what women are doing now. More and more women are running for office. You see, when you look at Congress, populated with women.
Please tell us if there's anything else you think is important about your service to the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, I've been a member of almost 15 years on their board of directors, and the reason I love the Boys and Girls Club is the work they do in serving over 8,000 children every year. We have 5 different sites. We started with 1, and over the years we've added 5 new sites to service children, so that almost every part of the community is served by a Boys and Girls Club. We have buses that pick these children up from school. If they're dropped off very early in the morning, they're with us and then taken to school and then picked up after school. We also have a facility, a preschool facility, which we've just built on the campus of Golden West College. And that preschool, we start at 6 weeks of age and take children up through when they're ready to start school. Then we are building on that campus a gymnasium, which we'll share with Golden West
Where
College.
does the funding for this preschool come from?
We have a sliding scale that parents pay to.
Is it important for a child to be in a program so young rather than just with a babysitter or a stay-at-home mom?
Well, I imagine most of the children that are in our preschool, mothers are working. And most of the time it isn't by choice. They're working to provide for their families, or they're single moms. And so many of our children participate in our programs, and mom is at home. But we have programs, are theatrical.
So there aren't that many who just come for like a half day, like my daughter did.
Yes, there are many of our children who come for a very specific program, but the bulk of our children come because they need a place to be instead of, and our police department has always said it's marvelous to have this program because the children come home, there's no one there until mom gets home from work. That's when the biggest juvenile crime takes place, is from school closing till mom gets home if a child isn't in a program. And many of our programs are athletic, and children would come just because they want to be a part of maybe one of our athletic programs.
So might it, you say that crime is reduced by children being in these programs?
Yes.
So it occurs to me that cities might want to fund them as a crime prevention measure. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and funds are available. There is a program called CDBG funding. It's a federal program, and what that program does is each city, and that probably is going to be cut because of the financial condition of these United States, but before and last year the funds were available, and they're given to groups within the community that need funding for specific programs. The Ultimate Community Care Health Center has received monies from that program. And in the past, in Boys and Girls Club, I believe the Fountain Valley City Council has provided funding. So we have many events. You know, any of the nonprofits, fundraising is a continuous process. We all wish that we had enough money that came in just through our programming and grants, but we're always, if it's not fundraising, it's a good grant writer. And I'm proud to say the Boys and Girls Club, we have a very good grant writer.
Please tell us about your service on the city council and eventually as mayor of Huntington Beach.
Well, it was a wonderful experience. People said to me when my terms were up, they said, well, now you can do whatever you want to do. And I said, I've been doing that for 8 years, exactly what I wanted to do. When I first started, when I first ran, I, of course, have had the experience of the Planning Commission, but I owned my own business at the time, Teacher Design Learning, and that took an enormous amount of my time. But I decided that I could do both of them. I had done both of them as a Planning Commissioner, and I thought, you know, I really can do this. And I was also thinking about eventually retiring from the business, and that I would probably work towards 3 years on the council, and when it was my time to become mayor, that would be a time when I would turn my business over to someone else. And that's exactly what I did. When I first started, I gave every Friday to the city council. I closed my business for that day and reported into City Hall. Being on the city council gives you just an enormous opportunity to really make a difference. And
can you give us an example or two of some situation or individual for whom you've made a difference?
Well, I think one of the most gratifying issues that I was involved in, along with Ralph Bauer, I was mayor at the time, and I got a call from a newspaper reporter in San Francisco. And he said, I understand that you are the skinhead capital of California. Oh, I was absolutely taken aback. I knew that we had some skinheads. In fact, there was a young man who worked in a company right next door to my company who was a skinhead, and I knew, I'd seen them on the streets. I knew there had been some recruiting done at our local high schools. So I knew that they were here, but it wasn't that obvious. But when I started thinking about it, I thought, we have had some issues in the past. There had been a black man who had been killed on Beach Boulevard by the McDonald's. Well, it was a terrible thing that had happened, but I didn't know.
Was it a racially motivated attack?
Yes, yes. And it was a hate crime. And that had happened before I was in office, but I knew about it. And then we had, I'd received a letter from a young woman in Fullerton. And she said, I'll never come to your city again. I was on the sidewalk with my boyfriend. We were going to one of your restaurants. A group of skinheads came to us and were very rude and suggested that we leave town. She said, I'll never come back. And I thought, it's not my city. It's not what I want for my city. And then we had an incident on the beach where a Native American was on the beach. It was in the evening, and he was attacked by a group of skinheads. And I said, this is it. Got to do something about it. I went down to Ralph Bauer, had the office next to me. I went into Ralph's office and I said, we got to do something. What is our first step? So we went to the Human Relations group in Orange County. Rusty Kennedy, wonderful man who had been with Human Relations his entire career. They had a commission, Human Relations Commission there, and we said to Rusty, what can we do? What can we do as a city? I mean, we're two people. He said, the first thing you've got to do is make sure that the leadership, and that's your city council, support you. That they think this is just as important as you do. And so we met with our police department, several individuals from our police department, several of our department heads, and we laid out what we thought was the problem. How do we resolve it? What do we do about this? And so taking Rusty's advice, we decided that we needed to